Next is Michela. Spagnuolo.
Spagnuolo, yes, thank you, Rai. And thank you all for inviting me also to share with you my personal experience or remembrances of Professor Cuny. At a personal level, I have to say that I had the opportunity to meet Professor Cuny for the first time during our first trip to Japan. It was early 90 in the University of Aizu. It was, I think, open since a few months. I met Carol there and other researchers in the University of Aizu. And the first feeling I had about Professor Cuny was that he was a visionary, inclusive, and enthusiastic researcher. For me, he really embodied the spirit of a researcher. The spirit of a researcher, because he was never thinking about research in an incremental manner. He was disruptive in all his thoughts. And research-wise, what I really gained and I was really fascinated was this mixture about computer graphics and mathematics that was mentioned by Bianca and also by Nadia and Carol as well. So this idea of thinking about the power of mathematics and topology in computer graphics, that was for me really an inspiration in my research activity. And I have to say that if we think back about his work in, I think it was 1991, about Reeve graphs, this was really one of the first work in which differential topology was brought at the attention of computer graphics. And think about today how many work in computational topology appeared in many branches of graphics. So his work was really extraordinary. Beside this, and this really very warm attitude also to the younger, that was also recalled by Nadia. He was really humble. He was speaking with everyone, young or big names, with the same style. He was really incredible in this. And he launched, as it was recalled, a lot of events. CGI is one of the, of course, greatest one. Think also about Shape Modeling International, that was born in Aizu in terms of environment context. And since then, also this workshop continued as an international conference. Many of us today are members of the steering committee of this conference. So he really produced a number of activities that I have the feeling that he's still with us today and will continue his work with us. Thank you.
Okay, very many thanks, Michela. Just to let you know, we're now at 32 minutes. And just a word in advance, when we get to the end of the contributions, I'd like to ask Dr. Hideko Cuny if she'd like to say anything. Just to emphasize, you don't have to say anything, but there'll be an opportunity for you to do so if you wish to. So next is Daniel Thalmann. Daniel?
Yes, okay, thank you. So what I would like to say is that at the end of 82, I saw suddenly in a journal there was a call for papers, and there was a conference in Japan, Intergraphics 83. And then I said to Nadia, oh, I think we should submit something here. I would like to go to Japan. And so that we submitted a paper to Intergraphics 83. At this time, we didn't know Professor Cuny, and then we came to Japan. And then I was very surprised because the main thing I saw here was to meet, in fact, Professor Cuny. He was a powerful person. He was a key figure in Japan, but it was easy to approach him. I was surprised because it was in another culture. And I found much more easy to speak with somebody like him than with people similar, let's say, in Europe or North America. But it was in another culture. I thought that Japan would be more difficult and so on. No, it was so simple. And so I was really surprised by this. That's my first point. The second thing is that, but it's related, of course, is that I was a young researcher, and then he helped me. He helped the young researchers. He encouraged us, for example, to publish books in English. Why? Because at this time we had published several books in French. And he said, but why do you publish in French? It has no impact. You have to publish in English. And then he helped us to publish in English, invited us in the series in Springer, Tokyo, and so on. Then invited us to contribute to special issue of journal, to multiple conferences. So I'm really very happy, and I should really be thankful of this, because he really helped not only me, but I think he has helped a lot of young researchers, and because he was really also discussing with them, which is really an important aspect. Now, the third thing I will say is that I admire him because of his independence. He was somebody different from many people, because he was not just sticking to existing organization. He was a creator. He was really, as said, I create myself a society. I create a journal. I can create a university. And that's the reason why he creates CGS with other people, but he was really a motor in this. He has created the visual computer. He has created the University of Aizu. So he was really somebody which was mainly a creator and an innovator. And so I'm really thankful to him.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Next is Franz Eric. Franz Eric.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me to this panel. Some of the things I'm touching on have been already touched on by other members of the panel. Well, I recollect having met Cooney first in '95 at the University of Leeds in the conference CGI there. And my understanding and appreciation of Cooney's works has been strongly influenced by my own background coming from Riemannian geometry and topology from PhD work in mathematics. In my perception, Cooney has always been a dreamer with a tremendous vision, initiating early on concepts that would show its impact much later. And this indeed applies in particular for the use of Morse theory and wave graph theory in computer graphics, which he early on understood being relevant to classify surfaces and to construct them also in a practical way in computer graphics. Okay, this general direction, as had been mentioned before, had then been later been taken up by Falcideno, Edelsbrunner, Bibas, and also early on by Spagnolo. Another concept that he has been heavily promoting, also belonging to topology, was the homotopy concept. He indeed was strongly pushing that concept until 2015, when his health became frail. Cooney came originally from the field of chemistry, and that might have suggested that he would have an emphasis on sort of practical applied engineering type research. But the way I understood Cooney's work is his scientific fantasy and imagination reflected a deep love for philosophical theoretical concepts that he considered being powerful enough in order to eventually rule the practical world of computing in practical applied fields. So in a meta sense, Cooney believed in the power of beauty, and his research was driven by his desire for discovering and feeling this beauty being crystallized in jewels of deep scientific insights, laws, and concepts that would be valid because of the power of beauty controlling the architecture of science. Thank you. That was my remark.
Thanks very much, Franz Eric.